Hey friends, welcome back to Grand Adventure. I'm your host, Mark Guido, and we're spending this week exploring the entire Atlantic coast of the Delaware shore, from Cape Henlopen all the way down to the Maryland state line, so stay tuned. Coming from our last stop on Cape May in southern New Jersey, there's only one logical route to take to the Delaware shore, and that's via the Cape May Lewis Ferry. The Delaware River and Bay Authority operates three nearly identical 320-foot diesel-powered vessels for the 17-mile crossing of the mouth of the Delaware Bay. Each can transport 100 vehicles and 800 passengers on the 75-minute crossing. Reservations are strongly recommended and nearly essential for an oversized vehicle like our truck and fifth-wheel trailer. Our 54-foot combination demands a fare of $69 for the truck and trailer and $10 for each passenger, including the driver. However, that fare is far less than the diesel costs and vehicle wear and tear on the 169-mile alternative around Delaware Bay. We've arrived early for our 1 p.m. sailing, but there's plenty to keep passengers occupied while they wait for their departure. Even free mini golf. It's time to get back to the truck, for our ride has arrived. I can only wish that every drive on our moving days was this easy. Delaware Seashore State Park covers more than 2,800 acres between the beach communities of Dewey Beach and Bethany Beach, bounded on the east by 6 miles of Atlantic Ocean Beach, and on the west by Rehoboth Bay and Indian River Bay. Oversand vehicle permits are available for surf fishing with four-wheel drive vehicles. Delaware's sand driving permits are different from most other locations, in that they're available for fishing only. Unless you've got rods and reels, you're not getting a permit. The campground we're staying at is only 2 miles from the beaches of Delaware Seashore State Park. It's called Bayshore Campsite, a huge, mixed RV, mobile home, and marina community that's rather unique in many ways. For one thing, they have only one, count 'em, one, site available for transient visitors. All the rest are reserved for permanent and seasonal residents. You almost have to wonder why they bother keeping one site available for visitors. For another thing, they don't take credit cards. When we reserved their one transient site, we had to mail them a check. What's a check? For a third thing, that's our power pedestal way over there on the next street over. It required our shore power cord and two 50-amp extension cords just to reach it. We carry one extension cord, but have never before had a problem. But thankfully, the campground lent us another. Despite the idiosyncrasies, this has been a peaceful stay. The seasonals were gone all week, and despite the packed sites, we felt like we had the place to ourselves. We have easy water access to Indian River Bay. It also costs somewhat less than many other area RV campgrounds, at $525 for the week, or $75 per night. When we come right back, following a quick ad break, We'll bring you to the beaches and the resort towns of the Delaware shore, explore some World War II history at Cape Henlopen, and more, so stay tuned. We've left the world of lobsters behind and arrived in the realm of steamed blue crabs. Crab chips, dusted with Old Bay seasoning from Utz, positively rock. Our campsite is a 4-mile drive from the nearest and perhaps the nicest Delaware Shore resort town, Bethany Beach, which along with South Bethany and Fenwick Island are popularly known as the Quiet Resorts. The town's year-round population of around 1,000 swells by another 15,000 vacationers during the summer months. It's smaller and quieter than its neighbors to the north, but still has all the trappings one would expect in a shoreline community, including a small boardwalk, a broad sandy beach, motels, restaurants, shops, and vacation homes. The portion of Delaware in which Bethany Beach lies was subject to a lengthy legal dispute in the late 1600s over whether the land belonged to the province of Maryland or the province of Pennsylvania. While it dragged on, William Penn granted the Delaware colony its own legislature in 1701, establishing it as a separate colony. The dispute over the boundaries of the three colonies was not resolved until 1759, when the parties finally agreed that the area where Bethany Beach now lies was part of Delaware. Europeans, however, did not settle the area prior to 1900, probably because Indian River Inlet cut the area off from their settlements to the north, and because the town of Ocean View, founded in 1889 and now Bethany Beach's neighbor to the west, did not expand its boundaries eastward towards the coast. It was first established by the Disciples of Christ in Washington, D.C., as a Christian meeting place modeled on the Chautauqua movement. Of course, Bethany Beach isn't the only shoreline community on Delaware's Atlantic coast, but the others to its north are larger, more developed for tourism, and far busier. Dewey Beach lies on a small strip of land between the Atlantic Ocean and Rehoboth Bay, and is about 1 mile long and 2 blocks wide. The largest, busiest, and best-known resort town here is Rehoboth Beach, a popular affluent vacation destination, especially for the communities of Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia. Rehoboth Beach has many summer homes, including one owned by current U.S. President Joe Biden. During the summer season, Rehoboth Beach's population expands to over 25,000 within the city limits, and thousands more in the surrounding area. Europeans first arrived in the area in the 17th century, with English and Dutch settlers radiating outward from Cape Henlopen at the mouth of Delaware Bay. The town was founded in 1873 with the first beach boardwalk constructed that same year. The arrival of a railroad in 1878 cemented Rehoboth Beach's success as a resort community. Cape Henlopen is the southern cape of the Delaware Bay along the Atlantic coast, just north of Rehoboth Beach. Named for a Dutch trader, William Penn in 1682 made the beaches of Cape Henlopen one of the first public lands established in what would become the United States. It's now home to 5,200-acre Cape Henlopen State Park, which encompasses the remains of Fort Miles. The Cape was an important strategic location for the U.S. Navy and Army during the American Revolution, War of 1812, Civil War, World War I, and World War II. Artillery fire control towers still dot the landscape across the Atlantic coast from Cape May, New Jersey to Bethany Beach. They were all part of the coastal defenses provided by Fort Miles, built during the first half of World War II. Expected to last roughly 10 years, constructed of poured concrete 17 feet in diameter and a foot thick, sometimes with beach sand added. Many of the towers are still standing today. Each tower took around 8 days to complete. Numerous bunkers, gun batteries, and the pier built to accommodate the laying of mines on the harbor floor all still remain today. At its peak, Fort Miles was home to over 2,200 soldiers positioned to protect industry in Wilmington, the naval shipyard in Philadelphia, and oil refining in both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Fort Miles never saw any major action during World War II, firing its guns many times in practice and achieving high marksmanship ratings, but never using those guns to engage an enemy. People along the East Coast were positive a raid would come from the Germans, but the attack never came. The Delaware Pilot Traffic Tower is used by the Pilots Association to monitor commercial shipping traffic entering Delaware Bay from the Atlantic via computerized ship tracking devices, radar, and radios. Once an artillery fire control tower, it was restored in 1986 to serve its new purpose and is very up to date for its kind. Here at the tip of Cape Henlopen, the beach moves to the west about 10 feet every year as winds carry the sand away from the shoreline. Following another quick ad break to pay the bills, we'll visit a 19th century life-saving station that rescued shipwrecked mariners, a beautiful local lighthouse, and more, so stay tuned. The Indian River Life-Saving Station was built in 1876 by the United States Life-Saving Service in order to respond to shipwrecks along the Delaware coast. The station is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is open to the public. The station was designed in 1874 as the 1.5-story board and batten frame structure with decorative brackets supporting overhanging eaves, in a version of the Queen Anne style. It sheltered a surf boat, which could be quickly rolled out through double doors facing the beach and down a ramp to the water. The main station house remains of what was once a complex that included a barn, stable, meat house, feed house, and privy. The facility was moved back from the water's edge in 1877 due to coastal erosion. In 1915, the United States Life-Saving Service merged with the Revenue Cutter Service to form the United States Coast Guard. The station was converted to a Coast Guard station and occupied until the Ash Wednesday storm of 1962, which left it partially buried in sand. A new Coast Guard station was built nearby in 1964, and this original station was restored by the Delaware Seashore Preservation Foundation and is now operated as the Indian River Life Saving Station Museum, part of Delaware Seashore State Park. Fenwick Island Lighthouse sits right on the Delaware-Maryland state line. It is 87 feet tall, brick with a central cast iron spiral staircase, and equipped with a third-order Fresnel lens. It was first lit with whale oil in 1859 and was automated in 1940. It was decommissioned in 1978 before being relit in 1982 and undergoing a full restoration in 1998. Like I said earlier, we're now in the land of blue crabs. And when in Rome, we hope that you've enjoyed exploring the Delaware shore with us. Now, coming up next week, we're going to be exploring a national park, staying right in the park on a barrier island among the wild horses of Assateague. So if you're not yet a Grand Adventurer, there is no better time than right now for you to go smash that little subscribe button right down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And ring that notification bell to be sure that you never miss a Grand Adventure, which we premiere right here every Wednesday evening. We'd be honored if you shared the channel with your friends, family, and on social media. Understand, it is extremely important to us that if you liked this episode, please be sure to give us a big thumbs up down below. And while you're down below, that's where you're going to find the comment section. That's where we'd love to hear from you each and every week. So until next Wednesday, from Assateague Island National Seashore, please remember life is nothing but a grand adventure. We'll see you then.